Here we are once again with the Jay and Rob Toy Show. As advertised and as promised, though with that weather getting nice, you never know if we're going to be around. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for listening. This now officially commences that moment when you can start screaming at your radio, your YouTube screen, or whatever you're doing at. Just disagree with us as much as you want. Just get involved emotionally. When I say us, it's not just me. Allow me to introduce the Mickey Mouse to my Pluto, Mr. Jay Bartlett.
You've looked better.
We didn't used to look this way. We did not used to look this way.
I had the pleasure of being introduced to the Rock's Tequila Terramano or whatever it's called last night. So
that explains everything.
Yeah.
That
it's fun. It's incredibly smooth, which I'm not a huge tequila guy, but
that's what our good friend Danny Valente is all about. Don't you remember he did the Terramano challenge for a while? Right. It's like shot a day or whatever, just to keep it smooth. I don't know what the rationale was, but
it's good. Yeah, it doesn't have that bite, which makes it extra dangerous. So we were up late, early morning. How's everyone doing? Hey, look at everyone.
Poor guy. Did you have so much fun and now you're not feeling good?
Oh, I feel great.
Oh,
until about 2 o'clock. About 2 o'clock, I'll be oof.
How's everybody doing in the chat? Thanks for tuning in. Ryan B, Jacqueline, Nathan, Cindy, Vicman de Santiago, who says, "Hey guys, tequila is good."
Yeah, dude.
Your boy John says, "Hey dudes." Thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm glad that we're here this week. Sorry about last week. I had to make a precious decision with my quite finite time on Saturday, and that was either to uphold our promise to try to have a weekly show with you or guest. The one time a year I get to guest on another podcast, and I chose to do that, and that was not, of course, with the guys from Toy Power That, of course, was with the Toy Power podcast. Buddy? I do need some Terramano.
Right up.
What time is it? It's Terramano time. That's what I need. The Toy Power podcast guys out of Australia had me on. It was early in the morning, and I just couldn't juggle both their show and ours, so that's why I was over there. And yeah, you missed us, but now you're here again. It's almost like you didn't miss us, and now you got your fix. And here we go with the Dolly Talk, the toy show, the shelf critique. What did you do last Saturday, Jay, with all that luxurious time off? Did you fill it with another live stream, or did you enjoy the day?
It is actually George Lucas' birthday today, Jacqueline says, and I was looking at my Facebook memories. I'll answer your question in a sec.
Whatever you want. It's your show.
But yeah, happy birthday, George. I was looking at my Facebook memories, which I don't know why I do that. I'm sick of Facebook as it is. But yeah, I don't think I missed a year. I haven't posted yet today about George's birthday. I think he's 78, 79. So happy birthday, George. I know you're watching. So, hey, man, call me. I'd love to be on one of your
What
phones.
would you get George Lucas for his birthday if you had an opportunity to present him with a present?
I wouldn't get him anything. What would
you get? Selfish bastard.
It's like Elon Musk. Like, what would you buy him? It's like the dude has everything.
Hey, maybe Jay, you don't have to buy something. Maybe you can make him something.
Maybe I can craft him one.
Maybe you can get some macaroni, some glue, some glitter, make him a nice card. With a little message.
I'll get him the George Lucas Stormtrooper figure. That's so rare and valuable.
Get him something more like Orion Pax. Because if George Lucas was a Transformers figure, he'd be Orion Pax.
Jacqueline, I somehow think he'd be much like Harrison Ford, where it'd be like, "Don't come anywhere near me, please."
No, I really don't like physical contact.
Give me my space.
I prefer to be kind of kept apart. I don't even want my actors in front of real locations, which is why I just surround them with big giant color screens. So, thanks for the birthday wishes, guys.
Yeah, I'm sure George is celebrating it quietly with his wife, maybe his kids, and maybe looking at some unedited Indy 5 footage. Who knows? Hard to say.
Maybe he's thinking about, how can I convince Disney to put these new scenes in that I always wanted to put in, those Star Wars movies that I sold them. What can I do? Do you think they'll go for the birthday sympathy play? Call them up and say, "Hey, man, it's my birthday. Can you do me a solid?" What do you think they'd say? No.
Well, considering he's like, I have my ideas for 7, 8, 9, and Disney's like, yeah, we're gonna go with this other guy.
That's fair.
So
That's
they
fair.
probably wouldn't care. I don't know. Maybe they would at this point. Star Wars is neither here nor there anymore. I can't tell what's up or down with that stuff. So I got a question for you, buddy. Are you excited for Obi-Wan since you look like him?
Of course, I'm excited for Obi-Wan. I'm always excited for anything, and it doesn't always have to fit, every box of excitement that I have for it. It doesn't have to like be the best thing ever, or I'm 100% disappointed and I've lost my childhood. But I like Ewan McGregor, as do you. I like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm curious about what that story is. I'm always skeptical, like I was with The Mandalorian, and remain to be with stories that fit in between two other larger stories. So I'm curious about how that plays out. I'm curious about how much filler there is in these 6 episodes, how long the episodes are, because there's rumors that it was compiled from the original feature-length film that they were going to do, and then they kind of broke it apart. And
there's only 6 episodes.
Right. But are they hour long? Are they half hour long? And how long was the original feature-length film? Was it going to be 2 hours long? So how much stretching are they doing with additional storylines? And is it going to be watered down?
They're shrinking these down. Do you see what's happening? They're giving us movies without giving us movies. I see what they're doing. I mean, I'm certainly intrigued, as I was with Boba Fett. The trailer was really good. I only watched one. I guess there's another one. Again, I've said it a million times. I just don't know how much of a story there is to tell there. He's watching Luke, and yep, everything's good. Okay, moving on. I just wish,
well, therein lies the challenge.
My wish would be to create something completely different that has nothing to do with that storyline with the Skywalkers. I would love to see that. That's my wish for Star Wars, but I don't think we're ever going to get that. So play it safe. That's the rule, right? In Hollywood, play it safe.
Give them what they know, only different.
Give them what they know, only different, then they complain anyway.
So, you gave me something different. I want something the same, but I want it to feel different.
But not too different.
Can't you read my mind and just satisfy my every impulse? I've invested in you with my watching hours and eyeballs. Yeah, that's how that goes. Let's get the icebreaker. Oh, what do you?
I was just gonna say, I've kind of harked back to childhood enjoyment of movies and TV shows, where it's just like I'm just looking at it like, is this entertaining? And not breaking it down from a filmmaker's perspective, or breaking it down from a critic's point of view. Just looking at it like, point blank, is this entertaining to me? And if the answer is yes, then it's good. That's as simple as I'm making it now. Honestly, I'm for real, dude. Proud of you.
Good luck on your new mission. What do you want from me? Thanks for throwing it out there.
Conversation in a podcast. I don't know.
Listen, Disney, everyone listening, when you put out a new show, Disney, I'm not looking at it from what you're trying to do. I just want to like it. Make me like it, Disney.
I think my first one was the Hawkeye show, where I got 20 minutes in. I'm like, no, sir, I don't like it. But now,
what is your barrier? What is your bar though? Why only 20 minutes? Like, why not give it a little bit longer?
It was bored me to tears, and I found the kid extraordinarily irritating. And I don't know anything about Hawkeye, so I'm sure she's part of the comic book story. I don't really care. I didn't like the kid. She was shooting the bell down and some dare, and I was just, I'm out. Can't do it.
You weren't bored 20 minutes into Rise of Skywalker?
I didn't have time to be bored. Things move so damn quick in that film. You don't even.
I fell asleep 20 minutes into Rise of Skywalker. I woke up.
I was just why is the whole theater just doing this? Like, shoom. Oh, Chewie's dead. Now the Emperor's back. Now this guy's here. Now Leia's dead. Now this guy. It's like wham, 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 wham. So,
speaking of George, did you hear that there's like a 4-hour Revenge of the Sith cut rumored to be out there?
Oh, cool.
That had a bunch of other storylines and.
There's a lot of
deeper cuts.
Good deleted scenes on the old DVDs. I don't know if they're on the Blu-ray. They probably are. But stuff they cut out a lot with Attack of the Clones. They did like a scene with Padme's parents and stuff. And that stuff was really cool. But I mean, that movie was already moving at a snail's pace. Revenge of the Sith would be cool. I think there's a lot of characters, a lot of figures that came out that were barely even in the film. So I'd be interested in that.
That's fair. Release the Lucas cut, man. I want the other version. I want the official version. I can't watch the non-official version. You've got the official version, fanboy. You've got it. Our icebreaker this week, of course, is brought to you by our lovely sponsors at Heroes Comics Cards, London, Ontario. Big Bad Toy Store, the ultimate badass online retailer of toys and other cool merch. Mock Masters to protect your dollies on your wall from all that sunlight. They're UV protected and rated. It's pretty important if you have any kind of light in your room. You want to protect those dollies that you spend so much time being anxious about. You're worried you're not going to get it. You're worried you're not going to have it on your shelf. You just need it. Protect it. If you love it, take care of it, you freaking filthy animal. And of course, Retro Rags, your source for the awesome ironic t-shirts and artist renderings that make our lives go zing, like this ironic t-shirt, although I didn't get it from Retro Rags, but they have cool ones.
Nor did I get mine from Retro Rags either.
Yeah, that's okay.
But anyway.
Question for you for the icebreaker. Do you have a favorite drinking cup? When you go to have a beverage, whether it's a frosty cold one or a cup of coffee, do you instinctively look for a certain mug in the cupboard?
Yeah. There's my coffee one. Often seen in many, many streams that we've done. The Kylo Ren, I've had it since 2015. I love it. The design's great. It hasn't rubbed off. It's gigantic, so you can put almost 2 coffees in it, and it keeps it warm. Beer, I collect pint glasses, beer glasses.
Collect.
So I have a ton.
That's an interesting word. Collect, you say?
Yeah, I collect.
I bet
well,
you do.
Not so much
I bet
anymore.
you do.
Well, back in the days when you could go to bars and you know.
Can I get a couple glasses for these?
Well, what do you need one glass? Why do you need 2 glasses for one person? Don't worry.
We don't have bottles.
Well, I can't talk about my favorite one now. You made me feel bad.
Let me guess.
I have one from a restaurant here called Jack Astor's that I purchased from the restaurant, and it's got a Dwight from The Office on it, and a really cool Beats beer Battlestar Galactica saying. It's really cool.
Yeah. What'd that run you?
You?
Oh yeah, I got. What did that Dwight one cost?
Oh, $9.99 plus 13%.
That's really reasonable. You got a good deal, buddy.
For
you got a really good deal.
Almost
good
like
job.
Like free. It was great.
It probably felt free at some point. You're like, man, I don't even feel like this cost.
I didn't even feel like I spent money on it. To be honest, it was so great though.
Must have been a great night. Probably some Terramana at the bottom of it. I have lots of favorite mugs. I've got a Disney World mug, but sadly, the being used in the dishwasher has started to fade it away. But it faded away in a unique way in that certain colors disappeared first. All the purples went, and then all the reds went, and then it just started fading until there's basically only blue left, which is a really unfortunate thing. But like your Kylo Ren mug, it is large. It holds 2 coffees. It's got a nice handle on it, a good weight to it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I think we don't think about these things.
Welcome to your 40s, everyone. You talk about mugs.
No, I mean, it's a collectible, right? Like we've got dollies, of course. People collect posters and comic books, but the pop culture merchandising experience always extends beyond, toys as usually the biggest kind of retail outlet, for people to buy. Yeah. There's always like bed sheets and, plates and I think we talked about this. What's the most obscure piece of merchandise that you've had? Probably for Star Wars, I'm guessing, or paraphernalia.
I had Walking Dead soap that was severed ears on a rope, like the one that Daryl wore. That's pretty weird. And why do I have it? It was given to me. I can't remember by who, but I still have it downstairs. Yeah, it's Walking Dead soap that are in the shape of severed ears.
I have Wonder Bread He-Man cards. So those cards that were in the packages of Wonder Bread.
Right.
I think that's pretty strange. But I mean, Masters was put on everything, right? That's the way that went. Same kind of thing. So today we're talking about kind of watch it or play it. We talk about what would you rather do with these brands or content or IP? We never really discussed them like that growing up. It was always like, what's your favorite show? And what are your, do you have any of the toys from the show? Rarely, I can't remember any instance, even He-Man, when we would play back in the day, we never considered it a show based from the toys, even though that's what happened. It was always the watching thing came before the playing thing, right? And I think we get a different kind of joy from each of these. So before we go down a list where I'm going to ask you, would you rather watch it or play it? And there's a lot of factors that go into that. Maybe talk about some of the different kinds of joy you get. The joy of watching something like a cartoon or a movie versus the joy that you had from playing with it.
Watching gives you great ideas. A lot of the episodes for G.I. Joe and Masters especially gave you a great outline. I didn't go beat for beat and copy the cartoon, like the outcome and like memorize the lines and stuff like that. We would do like the Mass Device, or we do like the Creeping Horak one that you and I would do. But it
Yeah.
was just like that was the thing that happened. It wasn't we were trying to recreate the exact cartoon moments. I think my favorite to play would be Mask, and I don't remember us ever copying any episodes. We kind of just made it up. Same with Star Wars. We would always make up our episode 7. And
Yeah.
I remember it was really unexciting. It was like the galaxy was at peace, and I remember Luke would do like I would have Luke like just tour the planets and just make sure everything was good, and if anything was out of line, he'd get down and kick some butt. But
Intergalactic Sheriff, get in line.
it wasn't. I didn't come up with a new big bad guy because honestly, Return of the Jedi was such a nice ending to everything. It was like, okay, evil is defeated. Here we go.
The
So I
resurrection
liked
of Vader. Come on.
No, I like just doing the piece. Like it was almost like episodic show where he would go and intervene on a planet with a little scuffle that was happening, much like the Mandalorian, but it wasn't this end of the galaxy kind of bad guy
It
that would
sounds
ever
like
show up.
it sounds like many of the cartoon shows from the late 60s and the 70s where there wasn't a lot of violence, so it was always kind of like almost like the Scooby-Doo mystery of the week, like what's going on here, these droids aren't behaving, we better go, make sure
Yeah,
they got the right circuits. There's nothing
yeah,
really bad, it's just like, this thing's a nuisance, Luke Skywalker to the rescue, handyman Luke.
yeah. I mean, there would be conflict and there would be fighting, but again, my admiration for Luke Skywalker and what he did in Return of the Jedi. So he was unbeatable, right? It didn't matter who showed up. It was like Luke was going to kick their butt, right? Because he was kind of like unstoppable.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't for me, where does it go? I mean, because when I would watch stuff, you'd feel like you're part of the episode unfolding for sure, but like learning, like absorbing all the information, all the new stuff that would happen. So if there was a new way, like He-Man relinquishing the power to become Adam, that happens in a few
Yeah,
episodes, which was
yeah,
like a new thing. It's like, oh, he could change back. I always wondered how he went back and forth. Like, did he go to bed and he just wake up as Adam, or did he have to put a disguise on, like Superman? Like, what triggered that? And just learning new little tricks or different plans that the villains would try, or how different gadgets and how He-Man would get out of different situations, or what the Joes would do as a team to overcome a particular obstacle. And I remember just storing that and thinking, oh, okay. Not really realizing at the time how that would like impact me later to problem solve and work with other people and come around stuff, because that's what you glean from cartoons, I think. But in the immediate moment, it's like, okay, we might not mimic this episode during playtime, but here's the kind of solution we could use for the kind of problem that might present itself.
I have a question for you. I see that we have Peter, who's another Masters in
Yeah.
the Universe expert like yourself. I'll ask both of you guys this. Anyone else who loves
What's
He-Man?
up, Pete?
Did He-Man, I'm talking about Filmation He-Man, did he
Sure.
have a time limit when he turned into He-Man? Was it
No.
like he would transform into He-Man and there was like, 60 minutes, like the power would start to drain and he only had so much time? Or can he stay as He-Man forever?
You can say as He-Man forever, as far as what I know. In the comics, they use that as a storyline in the Eternia War, which was done by DC later, where he wouldn't let go of the power and it started to corrupt him.
Right.
And so he didn't have the strength to kind of hang on to him. So he could be He-Man in perpetuity. But I think the longer he's He-Man, there's the longer absence of Adam. So people would be wondering where Adam was during all this and what's going on. So
Did you
he
ever
almost
think,
had the obligation to go back and forth.
did you ever think about, besides the facade of, being the king's son and all that stuff, did you ever think, He-Man must have really struggled with going back to Adam? Like, I know Adam is portrayed as a weakling, which is hilarious because he's bigger than Schwarzenegger as Prince Adam. But let's just say, for the most part, Adam is this wimp. Don't you think, at some point He-Man be like, I just don't want to turn back to him. Like that would be hard to kind of shut that off, right? Knowing
What
that you still have to channel the sword. So there might be some instances where you're captured and you can't do that. It must be very difficult to be invincible and then say, okay, I'm going to go back to this other persona for the sake of saving face.
I think it's the other way around, and they even did the episode about that, Prince Adam No More, where Adam had such an kind of an ego about it, and he wanted to prove to his father that he wasn't a screw up, which again is the disguise.
Mm-hmm. That's
he has to play the buffoon, and so he refuses to turn into He-Man. And that pride gets them captured by Beastman, who's trying to prove himself to Skeletor.
Doesn't he throw the sword in the chasm, if I remember correctly?
That happens later. He throws it away.
The sword away.
That's the problem with power. He just kind of
like, I don't need this wicked sword anymore.
I think Orko goes down to get it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't see them as separate people. Like, I wouldn't say it as like, He-Man doesn't want to become Adam because like he's got it so good as He-Man. I almost feel like He-Man's only around when the world needs him. Right. And I think the world needs Adam for other reasons just as much.
You know what would have been, this is just coming to my mind, my Terramano mind right now. You know what would have been really cool is, and maybe they did this, you can definitely tell me, if they made an Adam and He-Man figure that you could change, and it was like one figure, where it'd just be like you take his
like a triple changer pretender,
or you just lift off the Adam thing and then you put on the He-Man thing. Did they ever do that, or was it
no? But you could easily just like paint Adam's like white shirt, tan, and just put the battle armor on top of it and go back and forth. Because he's got the pink tunic, right? That's a soft good that you can take off and put the battle armor.
They never made a figure like that was essentially like Clark Kent transforming in the same. Yeah.
Well, because the colors are different. They're two different people. Nobody will ever put it together.
Well, you got to get, bam, another $14. Boom, twice. There you go.
I think that He-Man and Prince Adam are one and the same. In fact, I think it's Prince Adam, and he just gets the power of Grayskull, and it's this alter ego, like alter identity that's known as He-Man. Again, because it's so hard because they look so similar in almost every iteration. Like every iteration that happens, they try to separate the look a little bit more. Scrawny weakling teen to like this big, like you say, Schwarzenegger, like barbarian guy, but there's still enough connection that you're like, I think that guy might be He-Man. I think there's a connection there.
I mean, he couldn't even be bothered. He was so lazy in his disguise. He couldn't even be bothered to put glasses on. Come on, I'll put a helmet on or something. Or,
well, that's why I wear the pink overcoat.
Oh yeah, put your hair in a ponytail. Change your hair. At least
more importantly,
at least do this. At least go and swoosh it back.
How come nobody said, Adam, why do you have He-Man's sword in your back? Why are you hanging on to that?
Adam, why are you such a wimp and yet you can lift a house?
Why
something's not.
Why does Cringer look like Battle Cat? I wonder if there's a connection.
Well, he's smaller.
Not that much.
I at least like in the 2000X and in the Kevin Smith one that Adam was like really physically different. I like that.
Yeah. Basically, the whole trick with He-Man and Adam is just act tough, and people will think you are tough. Because it's all about how you project, right? Because Cringer is a weakling, and so is Adam. But if you act tough, even though you essentially look the same, you'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Got to get tough, Joe.
Okay, Peter's saying, and the show can be strong alone and with help, knowing when and how to call inner strength when you need help, which is piggybacking off of saying it represents independence versus self-reliance. And he says having one of those figures would have been cool, or at least having a 2-pack where you could press down and the package would rotate from Adam to He-Man in the package. That would have been cool. Again, so like you could almost do like a cyclone thing, maybe, where it's just like
that's what I was thinking. I mean, no doubt the figure would look kind of bulky and maybe silly. I don't know, with the technology today and the way they're making figures, it would probably look pretty good. Back then, I'm sure it would have been like a switch to the back kind of thing. But seems like such a huge missed opportunity there.
What do you remember about getting tired when you were watching cartoons? Like, I'm burnt out from watching cartoons all day, or I'm burnt out from playing all day. Were you able to switch to the other, or did you need a complete break from watching and playing when you got tired of one or the other?
I don't think I ever got bored of cartoons. I would be at my grandma's after school till my mom came to get me after work, and it was just like every half hour was like bam, 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 show after show. I don't remember ever getting sick of it. sometimes if there's reruns, I mean, some episodes are clearly better than others, so I
Yeah.
wouldn't watch it. I remember playing, and you remember this too. We would play so much that we literally, like, our games would go so long, we literally couldn't do another one. I
I
remember
love that
it.
you just called it a game. I love that you called it
Well,
a
it
game.
very much felt
Well, because you're
like
playing.
it very much felt like honestly like acting in a play, because we would do the voices, we would act out the characters, and it was just exhausting, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
so I remember we would do maybe one or two a day, and then when Darren got involved in that, that's when the theatrics really cranked up. And I remember staying at his place, my buddy who I used to play with a lot. I would stay at his place, and we would want to do another game, but we couldn't because we were so exhausted. I mean, that's hardcore playing.
The reason I ask is because I can remember being burnt out of watching like 4 hours of cartoons. Like there are some Saturday mornings that I wish there was like another hour or so. But if I was up from like 7 a.m., by the time that, I don't know, Soul Train or some baseball show came on at noon,
This
I
week
would,
in baseball.
yeah, Twib, I would be
Yeah.
kind of like, okay, I'm ready to do something else. And I felt the same way after playing. Like after we played for 3 or 4 hours, it was like, oh, I need to really switch gears, because that experience of absorbing the information from the show was just as thrilling as playing with the figures. But I was done, and I just needed a complete palette shift. I needed something new that was a little bit different than that stuff. And it wasn't playing video games. It was like going outside or bike riding or exploring something different.
Yeah, I remember when we still played, and you were into rollerblading and I was into skateboarding. That was a nice change environment, because it was, I don't know, we were becoming cooler dudes, I guess. That was just the thing to do back then, was
Maybe you.
skating and rollerblading. So yeah, that was a nice shift. I mean, I never really played. I liked basketball for a while, but I never really played with people. I kind of would just shoot hoops and stuff like that. So I like being outside. I remember that being outside was fun.
It's so warm now in Canada. We've got to the point now where we're already just hiding inside. We went from
I'm going out after this, man. It's I've been waiting for this. We for anyone who's not in Ontario like us, we got snow up until about a week ago in Canada.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, but it
Yeah.
wasn't like warm until like the last week. We
Yeah,
had,
and
like,
that's what it's like here in Canada. It's, or at least in Ontario, it's like it's extreme weather to the next. It's freezing cold and
Yeah.
snowing, and then all of a sudden it's warm and sunny. So at least I feel like it's like, oh my god, I gotta go outside now. It's sunny. Like, I don't have a choice. It's because I don't know what tomorrow's gonna bring. I don't know what kind of weather is gonna happen.
I agree. So I'll go outside for at least 20-minute spurts if I can. I'll take the dog or the kids outside for 20 minutes. Even if the sun's too intense, I'm like, we got to get out there, come inside for 20 minutes, get the water, get hydrated. It's like, all right, back outside, everybody, because you got to soak it up while we got it, because it's only been the last 10 days that it's been really nice. And right now, there's only a few hours I find in the middle of the afternoon that are just like unbearable for long stretches. But the morning is fantastic and the evening is fantastic. And it's just, drink it up. Is your AC on yet?
No. I'm not a, what do you
be
call
careful
it?
with those dollies, man. That humidity, especially in the basement.
I'm not a weather snob, I guess. I don't have like,
It's not snobbery to have AC or a heater on.
no, that's not what I was saying. For me, it's like I don't need like a certain kind of whatever. I just like, give me summer and I'll deal with it, because especially as I find when I get older, I hate winter so much. Like, I hate it. Hate everything about it. So when the weather's here, it's like, it's hot and muggy. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but I would much rather deal with that than sleet and ice and cleaning your car off and freezing when you go outside and it hurts. That's not fun.
It's funny, and I mentioned the weather. I mean, we talk about the weather all the time, but the good weather, like spring and summer, it never felt like toy time or cartoon time, mainly because the shows would end until September comes in. You'd have another season of Saturday morning, and that's when a lot of the toys came out too. So that summer was always a gap. There weren't too many new shows during the summer. It was all reruns always.
Yeah, there was. Summer most of the time was outside, and video gaming. I think we would do at night, right, when it was cooling down. And
no, it'd be the perfect weather. We'd be inside.
Sometimes it depends on the
Yeah.
release. I remember, like, in our 20s and stuff. Yeah, we didn't. I mean, the good weather signified, okay, it's time to rock, right? It was the weather just made us want to party and just enjoy life and get outside and just be with our friends. And it still does that today, man. When like a day like this, it's just like you just feel so alive. It's
But
really
it's so
great.
great just to be able to look outside the window now and just be full of happiness and not dread
Yeah,
stepping
not,
outside your house. So no
not
matter what you do, whether you're playing with toys, collecting, talking to friends, podcasting, or watching something, it's just a happier time in the world. And I think that really feeds the activities that we have, whether it's collecting or playing or watching.
yeah, not opening the curtains and just being like, ugh, and then shutting them again because it's like a
Yeah.
whiteout, another whiteout.
Yeah, 100%. Let's maybe run through some shows and talk about what you prefer to do. Did you prefer to watch it or like play with the toys associated? And which one did you prefer more? It's kind of
Interesting.
an either or.
Sure.
And I'll be curious to see what you think on these. So we'll start with something random like Silverhawks. You like the toys better, like playing with the toys, or watching the show? It's kind of a left field one to start with.
I mean, I like them. I wouldn't say I'm like a diehard Silverhawks fan. I would say the show. I enjoyed the same kind of animation as Thundercats, same company and all that. I like the show better. The toys look great. They didn't play very well. They were very situational. Quicksilver's like this. So he's meant to fly. I would say the cartoon.
For me, I think it's the toys. I actually like the play features a little bit better, even though they were situational. The show did not speak to me all that much.
It's pretty flat. It's pretty flat, honestly. The characters aren't very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't stand out as an IP or a brand from my childhood that much. And even going back to watch it, there's always the toys. I always got more joy out of the toys than I ever did watching the show. Ryan's wondering if we ever played toys while watching cartoons. I certainly remember having toys around me, but never really playing. I was always just, it's on, I'm on.
Yeah, I would have my toys around me, Ryan, definitely when a show was on. The Turtles, especially if they showed a new. I remember it was always exciting when you got the new guy. Let's just say first time they introduced Casey Jones, and you see him on screen, and you have the new toy. I remember just like I'm still like that to this day. I always like to have that physical representation of that character I love. So you'd see Casey Jones and like, yeah. I didn't care that he didn't look exactly like he did in the cartoon. You got the idea. It was Jones. He's a Jones.
We'll get to TMNT in a second, but you already mentioned the next one I want to talk about, and that's Thundercats. And this might be a bit harder for some people to choose between the toy or the show.
Sure.
If you pick one. Where do you stand on that? Do you like the toys?
The show, 100%. The LJN toys are they're okay. They're out of scale, which I really can't stand.
Yeah,
especially now as an adult. Lion-O is just like 800 feet tall, and so is Mumra, and everyone else is like below them. The toys are okay. I'm not a huge Battlematic action kind of guy. I don't like those gimmicks. It doesn't break the toy line for me, but I think the cartoon is incredible. I still think it's one of the greatest cartoons of the 80s to this day. So I would say the cartoon.
For me, a cartoon.
I know you're not a huge
much
fan of either. Yeah.
Yeah, not by much. I never had the figures. They never appealed to me. The box art I liked, and I like the packaging that it's black, and I've always liked the Thundercats logo. It's a really good logo. Like it's an exciting logo.
Cool. It is
I even almost prefer it, I think, to Masters of the Universe when I see it on some packaging. I mean, when you see Masters on a Grayskull box, it's just like, oh, pulls you right in. But that Thundercats logo is really nice. Yeah. So the show, but I just don't have a lot of experience with it. Now, another tough toss-up, Jay. Mask. Show or toys?
That is friggin' tough. Whew.
I know.
That is wow. Oh, I love that show so much. The best part, especially, is when Matt picks the agents for the mission, or the computer does. Yeah. And the music in that show is so good. Oh,
but those toys, those action features on those toys that transform and just enough to give it life. The scale is perfect. They feel good to play with. the masks themselves transform the figure just enough to make it cool.
And it was great because it was a cross between James Bond, Indiana Jones,
G.I. Joe.
Transformers, GI Joe. It had all of that and kind of mashed everything together. The cartoon definitely was very Indiana Jones. It was the the item of the week that they were all trying to get to first.
So what's your answer? What's your answer?
Okay, I'm gonna say, I
wrong,
can't live without that music. I gotta go cartoon.
That's interesting.
It sucks. It sucks that I gotta pick that. But hey, what's up, Kyle? But yeah, damn, I hang my head in shame because I know you're looking on me with disapproving Terramana eyes.
I'll just take your Boulder Hill playset from you, your Thunderhawk.
Well, no, I mean you'll be fine with that.
No. You've got your DVDs to watch
right now.
Your DVDs will comfort you. You don't need that stuff. You don't need that.
You don't need the physical items.
I would go toys. I had way more fun with toys, especially including the figures that I had. I had Brad Turner, and I had I don't even know the other one. It was from like Series 2. It was like a
Did
spaceship.
You have a bad guy? I only remember you ever having Condor.
Yeah, Condor, and I had the white spaceship, like plane rocket thing from Series 2.
Oh, that's I can't remember that one. That's a great one. That's the white van that splits in half.
Yeah.
That red jet pops out of it. It looks like the jet from the Terradrome. That's a great. I never.
So
had that
toys for me, but just because they fit in with GI Joe so well, just because they fit in with other things, like it was those figures and that concept just worked so well with the other brands that I was already playing with. And I probably didn't watch Mask enough when I was younger, but as a teen, renting it from Byron Video and stuff like that, it was easier to get back into the cartoon. So before we keep going, we've got to tell people about a certain Kickstarter campaign that's still going on, Jay.
Yeah, it's the last week for our Kickstarter. We're quite grateful. We have made our goal for the Blu-rays, which is great. We're now trying to hit that stretch goal to get another adventure underway, basically.
The first stretch goal is getting the toy room tours out and sharing that with everybody. You get to see a tour of Jay's toy room. Peter, who's in the chat as well through Electrified Porcupine, we tour his toy room as well. There's Mysterion, who has over 5,000 action figures open in his toy room. We've got a super high-end Transformers collection from Walter Mueller, who's got every iteration of Hound you can imagine in original Minibot art plus other stuff.
So cool.
In his collection. That's just fantastic. The stuff that we were able to capture is just so good. We can't wait to share it with you. Just got to hit those goals. 1 week left. Next week's show, we're doing the final countdown, the final hour countdown for the campaign to help drive up support and get it there. This is maybe the last economical chance to really get us to that goal. And I know it's going to be really hard to get $30,000 because right now I think we're at 7,700 American, and we need 30,000 to get another season underway.
Yeah, I mean,
the economics make it so hard to do it unless we have that kind of support.
Yeah, without boring everybody, the long and short of it is, I mean, there's nothing more we love doing than these road trip adventures, honestly, but they cost so much money. All these costs that come out of nowhere that you don't even think of, they're there. I wish we could just do it for free, but we can't. We got to try and make a living out of it, try and make some money. So we can't, I guess we can't keep, putting money into stuff like this, right? That's where Kickstarter comes. It's like, if you guys want to see another season of Action Figure Adventure, we'd love to give it to you. Just share the campaign, share it on all your favorite toy groups. If you're a He-Man guy, your Transformers guy, share it there. Spread the word. We'd love to do another season.
Yeah, like Peter's saying, gas alone these days is quite expensive.
Crazy,
so imagine 4 to 6 people touring around in a car. And for season 2, we only shot for 10 days, which was enough to get us our episodes plus everything else that unfolded. So 10 days, 4 to 6 people, gas, hotels, gear cost, and then all the time that goes in after the fact. So typically I'm fronting all the production costs. Jay's fronting the auction side of things. And it's so hard to float, hoping that you're able to sell it later, hoping that you have a campaign that can hit goals. We're not making money on this. That's not why we do it. We do it for the love, but at a certain point, it's hard to do with your fingers crossed for so long. So that said, we've hit our goal, which is awesome. We're gonna have Blu-rays of season 2, some awesome perks like coming on an adventure with us, and there's still a chance for a season 3.
Is there spots open for the adventure still?
There is.
No, one's been taken, right?
There's one's been taken, and an executive producer slot has been taken, so it's included with both. I think there's a total of 8 slots to go on a toy hunting adventure with us, and that could be you coming to us, which is the easy way to guarantee. Of course, you've got to pay for your own travel expenses and food and lodgings and all that. Or if you happen to be where we are, if we end up going to a con or we're traveling for something and we're in the area, and you're close by and you want to drive up and say hey, and we'll go hit a toy shop, hang out.
That would be super cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to do that, definitely now's your chance. Yeah. And we would love to hang out with you for sure.
Yeah, totally. All right. Back to watch it or play with it. You mentioned it already. TMNT. Would you rather watch it
Turtles,
or
play with the figures? 100%. 100%. Yeah. The cartoon and I are not good friends
nowadays, but think back then.
Yeah, honestly, I love the first, season or whatever, but I've said this a million times. I think it's a little silly, and you know what? It's supposed to be because it's for kids. So I'm not crapping on it. That way, I liked the figures better. I liked the way the figures looked. At least the 4 turtles looked like the comic book. They didn't look like the cartoon, so it was a little more serious for me. Definitely the toys. That's easy.
Yeah, same with me. Toys, 100%. I just had more fun creating more adventures with the toys, and I like the weird toys that came out. I don't necessarily like the alternate outfits for the turtles that constantly, Baseball Dawn and Star Trek Raph or whatever
Don't lie.
Samurai Leo. It's okay, but I'm good. There's not enough Terramana for me to get to it.
The turtles for us, it was really easy to make adventures for them. They were really fun.
Yeah.
And you could really just let your imagination go wild with turtles. There wasn't very many rules. They had Dimension X, which was another universe, and then they had Earth. So it was like you got the best of everything.
Yeah, I agree. And because, ooze could mutate anything, it was the bottomless pit of possibilities. And at the heart of it, those 4 turtles could interact with any other toys. As long as you had those 4, or maybe like a one-off like Casey Jones or Splinter, it made sense that they were part of everything else. So that's awesome. Moving on, one of your favorite movies and toy lines, Dick Tracy.
Can I just veto this one? Can I not pick?
No,
either?
You have to pick.
I have one Dick Tracer figure, and that was from you. I appreciate it. The carded Dick himself.
Mint on card Dick. It's a mint Dick.
My fondest memory of that whole campaign, which is very similar to Batman 89, was the Genesis game. But since that's not an option here,
it's not an option.
Watching
the movie or playing with those toys?
What's it gonna be? Toys. I like the toys. You like the toys? Movie. How could you like the toys?
I'm going with the movie. The movie was pretty great. Seeing those characters in toy form did not do those characters on screen justice. They just look like plastic hard Gumby dolls that were not nearly as fun as the representations on screen. Even though some of the characters on screen were like destroyed within the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Way cooler to see that than what we got as kids to play with.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care.
You could go either way.
I
don't care.
I haven't seen that movie since the 90s, the early 90s. Honestly, I think I've seen it once.
Go back and watch it.
I still love Madonna. So that was great. And Warren Beatty was pretty cool. I think they were dating at the time.
They were.
Remember that? Yeah. So that was kind of cool too. And then later on, I found out, Al Pacino was in it and stuff like that. And
Mandy Patinkin,
maybe I do owe it a
Hoffman.
Second. I do own it a second. A second viewing.
Terramana strikes again.
Terramana's come get me.
Ding! Terramana strikes
seeping from my skin.
All right, show or toy, Captain Power. You're welcome.
Oh, these are good. This is tough. Everyone in chat, please feel free to play along. I want to hear what you guys have to say too.
Ryan B is saying regarding Dick Tracy, he loves the toys, but the movies win. The visuals are awesome.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I loved the black and the yellow and the blue color scheme that the movie had. Geez.
Peter's saying, not on this one for me. I always wondered who bought them when I saw them in the consumers distributing catalog.
Well, us
Who's
idiots
buying
did. Actually,
these?
I don't remember buying many of them. I had Dick Tracy. I remember I always wanted Flat Top, and of course we always wanted the blank because we never found her. Okay, Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future. I watched that show so much.
It was the first show I remember watching that they had VHS tapes for.
I'm gonna take the video game portion of the show out, although
it's
I guess
part of the show.
I suppose it is part of the experience. Watching the show. I'll take the show over the toys.
I gotta go just the toys.
Yeah.
Again, I had way more adventures with just the toys that were better than being on rails while watching the show. I was so frustrated when I had to watch the show that I had to do this or I lost points.
What's the show, my friend? Tell me. It's the same thing. They go to another settlement. They're getting down by Judge Dredd or Lord Dredd or whatever his name is.
Judge Dredd, the ultimate crossover. Captain Power, Judge Dredd.
Same show every episode.
Again, which is what makes the toys better.
Yeah,
Sauron needed the toys. The toy didn't need the show.
Yeah,
I leave it at that.
I mean, they sold each other, which is great. Okay, so toy for you, show for me. That show is just so weird and dark and blah. Makes me feel weird.
All right, Star Wars
movies, 100%. That's not even a thought.
Really, with all the toy dollies behind you.
That's my big one. I would pick the movies 100% over any toy of Star Wars.
But you would never be able to have Sheriff Luke Skywalker going around making sure the droid settlements are okay.
My episode 7 is better than Force Awakens. What would
let me ask you?
I can't remember. I think I had a name for my episode 7. It was like a piece across the galaxy or something lame like that. I think mine was called.
No wonder you want the movies. That toy experience sounds like crud.
Well,
now is that based on the fact that when you really got into the Star Wars toys, like Power of the Force 2, of course you had the vintage stuff growing up, but when you really got into it, like you were beyond the playing years?
Well, I think I knew even as a kid, as much as I wanted Star Wars, I didn't want any more with Luke and Vader. I remember that because that was like done.
It's too good. Leave it alone.
It was good. It was like, it's over. He vanquished his father. He brought his father back. It was so perfect. The Emperor is dead. Luke's the big hero. It was so great. I'm just like, please don't mess with that. So I don't know. That's why I never brought up, like I said earlier in the episode here, I didn't bring another big bad guy because it's like he beat the biggest of the bad guys.
Terramana strikes again. He beated the big baddie.
He beat the big baddie. Terramano.
One hell of
a
love you. All right, well, G.I. Joe, where's that lay?
Oh, you didn't tell me about Star Wars. What was yours?
That doesn't matter.
No.
I didn't have Terramano either.
Would you rather hang out with The Rock or drink Terramano? Oof, that's a good
drink
one.
Terramano. Way more adventures just drinking Terramano than
Joe.
I would watch Star Wars movies. There's my answer.
Okay, G.I. Joe 100% is all about the toys for me. For sure.
But you wouldn't have got into the toys if it wasn't for the show.
But that's my answer.
That's
at this point in the broadcast, folks.
That's the Terramano speaking.
Come get me, and Rob's just instigating. So that's all it is. He's not even giving answers anymore. Whatever I say, it's but you wouldn't know.
Listen, I want to talk to Jay, not the Terramano leftovers.
It's seeping from my.
It's 100% the toy, huh?
Is
that because now you look back at it because you loved that cartoon growing up? Loved it.
Doesn't take anything away from the cartoon, but you're making me pick one or the other. How can I go on with it?
We'll justify it. Don't just give me an answer. Justify it. So the crews come get you.
There's so many characters with personalities that you could come up with because the file cards painted a great picture. So even if you didn't see the cartoon, you had a good idea of what the character was all about. And everyone had their favorites. Again, I've said it a billion times. You take the 4 or 5 main characters out, everyone had their favorite Joe, their favorite Cobra, and 400 or 500 figures. 300 when I was playing with them. They ended up with 500 figures. That's just endless play scenarios. Endless.
We have a differing of opinion in our chat. Peter from Electrified Porcupine says Joe cartoons, but Ryan B says Joe's are toys.
Yeah, the toys, man. It's all about.
I would have to go cartoons for Joe for me, 100%. Easy, without question at all.
Stupid answer.
All the way.
Ridiculous.
Cartoons. No, it's actually one that's qualified and intelligent.
This isn't a terrible answer. I don't approve of it.
It's not infused from last night's regrets. It's the source material, and it's better than anything I could have came up with that I could replicate in my living room.
Well, it's arguable because the Marvel comic was just as popular.
No,
as the cartoon at the time.
It wasn't.
Dude, they did TV.
It wasn't nearly as popular.
TV commercials for the comic book. Like, who did
They
that?
needed to. They needed to. Boy, we got this book. I hope it sells. You know what? Put it on the show that hundreds of millions of kids are watching, and maybe we'll move a book or two.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe you're right.
All right, Transformers.
At this point, I don't care. Transformers, that's simple. The cartoon.
That's the cartoon. That's the cartoon,
for
100%.
Sure. Such incredible. Sunbow had such incredible voice actors going for them.
I know, and they're G.I. Joe cartoons.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But Frank Welker as Megatron and whatever his face, Terramano as Optimus Prime. It's just amazing.
Peter Terramano.
Yeah. Old Cullen. Yeah, I mean, the cartoon. You and I have talked about this again. We're not huge G1 toy fans because the scale is so wonky, and you can tell they're pulled from different toy lines. So even as a kid, the Transformer toys were great, but I would much rather have that cartoon, especially the film. The movie is just legendary.
Yeah. This one's a little bit broad. I'll let you come at it any which way you want to kind of justify
you didn't answer for that one.
Again, I don't know. I said cartoon right away at the beginning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Terramano, come get me.
Yeah, Terramano, get you. This one's broad. I'll let you answer any which way you want. Superheroes. So whether you were talking DC, superpowers, Kenner, Secret Wars, Toy Biz stuff, Migos, World's Greatest Heroes, Batman movie tie-ins. But remember, that goes against all the Batman movies, the Superman movies, the X-Men animated series, Spider-Man animated series. And we're just talking figures or toys, not comics, against movies or cartoon shows.
I would probably go with the cartoons and the movies, to be honest. I'm not saying you can't make up your own personality for Spider-Man and Batman, but I think it's a lot more difficult to do that. Maybe some kids did. I would be really interested to talk to someone who didn't have any source material for Spider-Man, and just Spider-Man was, he shot lightning or whatever, the kid made up. I think that would be really interesting, but I don't think that really exists too much out there. I think superheroes are very specific to their lore. So I don't think, we weren't reading comics much as kids, as young kids at least, right? So I think without the cartoons, we wouldn't know who the hell these guys were. And I don't think they would be as appealing, honestly.
For me, the Marvel stuff, the cartoons, easily. And that's predominantly what it was for me growing up, because there wasn't really any Marvel movies at that point, right?
Yeah.
There was some early stuff and some later stuff, but it was really the Fox Kids, X-Men animated series, Spider-Man animated series, Fantastic Four, Hulk, Iron Man, Silver Surfer.
Stuff's so good.
That was awesome. Now the DC stuff, I would probably say the toys, because I think the reason for that is those heroes, while they have depth, their powers are so broad that you can use them in more situations. So it's easier to pick up Batman and have that character do anything with all the other toys. Same with Superman. But somebody like Shatterstar or Cable or Nightcrawler works within that kind of context. It isn't as transferable. So those DC heroes were so much easier to play with other toys that I didn't need the movies and then the shows to inform them. But the Marvel stuff, and maybe that's just a testament to how great those Marvel animated shows were in the 90s, were just so good on their own that I couldn't replicate those adventures again in my living room. Batman the animated series was an outlier, but again, even with how good that show was, I could still pick up Batman and have adventures.
I would say Marvel, the cartoon, and I would say the cartoon of the show, and I'd say DC 100% the cartoon and the movies. I have such fond memories of Christopher Reeve's Superman growing up, and the John Williams score, and then Tim Burton Batman. Just those two alone, I couldn't imagine not having.
Yeah.
And I'm certainly a fan of superheroes. I don't live and die by comic books, right? So I would much rather have the films than the toys. That's me.
The last one's Masters of the Universe. Maybe the toughest one. Toys or show.
The Filmation cartoon?
Yeah, or the live action movie, or the toys. Where's that go? That's the tough one. That's your Terramano shot right there.
See, I would go toys with that one. The Filmation one.
Interesting.
The Filmation one, having gone through it a couple years
as
back.
a kid, though, as a kid, not adult collector Jay.
The toys, because the toys were before the show, and I remember it was a very different. When the toys came out, they felt like Conan toys. It felt dark and gritty, and the show came out and definitely made it more exciting, I would say. But I would say the toys. I love the two halves of the power sword and all that. Yeah, the toys.
I gotta go cartoon.
Yeah,
I gotta go cartoon. When it comes down to it, if I had to pick as a kid, either having the toys or being able to watch the show, and even now, if I had to pick between having the toys or being able to go back and watch that Filmation series in particular, it's got to be the watching of the stuff. 100%. There's an X factor to that series, again, that you can't replicate with the toys. And I think the show did a lot of the things that you could already do with the toys. So the toys didn't bring anything new that wasn't already present in the show. So I think the show goes above and beyond in this case.
Yeah.
In big ways. We're running out of time rapidly. We got through that whole list. I'm surprised. Let's get to our action figure spotlight. Do you have some dollies on hand?
I don't. I have an advertisement. So my action figure spotlight is actually my new video on my YouTube channel, and he's right there. My carded Indiana Jones.
Well, do you want to hold him up so we can at least see that it's real?
Well, if I pick it up, it might crumble.
Oh.
Terramano. Yeah, so you don't see this every day. So this has got a really interesting story to it. This is the 1981 Kenner Indiana Jones from the first wave of only 2 waves. Very small run. But guys, check this. It's not really a review. It's more of a story of where this came from and how I came to get this grail. Check it out on my YouTube channel. But I love this line, and I made a somewhat controversial video. It turned out to be, where I was kind of saying enough is enough with Hasbro, and I'm kind of sick of handing them over my money. So I've kind of focused more on vintage. And I got to tell you, since I've done that, the stress has just really kind of melted away, which is nice. And again, it's me putting pressure on myself. But check out both those videos, guys. I'd like to hear your comments. This is one heck of a story. I got this guy from Dark Matter in St. Thomas, Ontario. Great store. So check it out.
Well, it's funny because my action figure spotlight is something vintage this week as well, and it's the one line that I'm hoping to get into a little bit more when I can find it. Again, I try to get these things complete because I don't want to have to chase down accessories at all.
Yeah.
And what I want to showcase is from that line that I've just been thinking more and more about, and that's Cops and Crooks, and in particular, this guy here, Mr. Rock Crusher. He's,
I saw you posted Berserko too. I saw.
I did, and I was going to show him, but then you had showed him a few weeks ago. So I thought, well, I'll just show Rock Crusher. So I got Rock Crusher, and I've got his little ball and chain. I don't know how this thing is supposed to go on him. It doesn't fit around his foot or his hand. Maybe he's just supposed to hold it. But I also have the file card, which you, of course, mentioned that Larry Hama was the writer of those too. But it's a cool figure. I wish they all had more backpacks because I hate those empty holes that are just in the back. Again, kind of like a 2-Up Joe. twice the size. But I would love these even if they were at the 3 3/4 scale. I think there's a lot of fun to these figures at all. So super stiff, really great, and it works. For Scott Wad from Retro Universe, it's got me some stands for my Masters of the Universe figures, and they work well with these figures as well. So that's cool to help them stand.
Yeah, so I collect the cops too, and it's really nice because that line is really fun to collect. It's not super expensive. It's not a big line. I don't know. I just find stepping back from the rat race of all the new stuff. And again, I'm not stopping collecting new stuff. That's not what it's about. It's just about taking it easy. But once you go back and start picking up vintage stuff, it's less stress. It's relaxing. And I find each piece you acquire is just so rewarding.
Well, where can people find you to hear more controversial videos and rewarding toy stories?
TerramanaTequila.com/The Rock. Check me out on YouTube. And I got to say, since I posted that Hasbro video, man, my analytics have been going through the roof. So I'd like to thank everybody in the chat for supporting me. Really do appreciate it. Ryan, especially Ryan's always there. Neil, Kyle, Pete, you guys are always there commenting minutes after I post a video. I can't thank you enough, guys. So check me out on YouTube.
Pretty awesome. You can check me out here on YouTube. Please give this video a like. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel so you get notified when we do go live. We're doing this every week, at least our very best efforts, including next week, our Kickstarter countdown, the final hour of Action Figure Adventure Season 2, exclusively on Kickstarter, and your only chance, likely, to get a Blu-ray or a DVD unless there's any overstock, plus lots of cool perks like going on toy hunts with Jay and I, and posters and signed copies and all that fun stuff. You can only do it once, so this is your chance to get in it, because when the show comes out in December and everybody's talking about it like they did with Season 1, people were quite upset. So get in while you can. You can hang out with me on Twitter as well, at Rob McZob, on Instagram, at Action Figure Adventure, at Jay and Rob Toy Show. It's been another fun adventure. Go enjoy the weather. Maybe a shot at Terramano, our unofficial licensed sponsor.
I'm going to get a shot of Terramano and cut the grass. See how that ends.
I love it. All right, so for the love of toys and the warmth of scarves in this sweat-fueled Terramano binged episode, take care of yourselves.
And each other.
Because playtime, Jay, is what?
Always the best time, unless the cartoon's on.
Then it's always cartoon time. And that's where we're at. All right, see you guys next week. Cheers.